This is the 263rd Taiku in the Babylonian Talmud. It appears in Tractate Chulin, page 45a. It is the Taiku of Monday, March 9th, 2026, and Yom Sheni, the second day of the week, the 20th day of Adar, 5786. The Parsha of the week is a double Parsha. It's both Vayakel and Pekudei. And the Daf Yomi today is Menachot 57. This is a very interesting occurrence, and I like to make note of these things every time they come up. These synchronicities or these lining up things. And today, the Taiku is found in Tractate Chulin. There was a point where I was doing these. I started doing these Taikus in June of last year, one per day, and throughout all of 2025, it was always behind the Daf Yomi. But when it got to February the 13th, which was a Friday, that was what I call the take-off Taiku. That means that this is the point where the Taiku started to surpass the Daf Yomi. And so now we're far ahead of the Daf Yomi. We're several, 10, 20, I don't know, something like in between 10 and 20 Taikus, maybe closer to 20, ahead of the Daf Yomi. We're in Chulin 45a. But what's interesting is that the number 45 came up today in a profound way. And if you've been watching my channel for some time, you probably get the idea that I'm really a big fan of numbers. You might even say obsessed with numbers. Extremely fascinated by them and what they mean and how they operate in ways that maybe the average person wouldn't think about it too much. Maybe a little bit more obsessive about it than a great many people, let's say. For example, if I get something, it's a certain price, that's a number. And if that's at a certain time, that's also a number. Those are all gematrias for me. They all mean things and can mean many things. So my area of exploration or quandary is if these numbers have some relationship to the time in some kind of an order, some kind of a pattern on when these numbers show up at certain intervals. This is what fascinates me and keeps me doing what I'm doing. And this thing happened today. Today, something came up where I was watching a video, and before I had any knowledge of what today's Taiku was going to be, because they're in an order. You can count them. It's from day 1 was June 19th. Day 2 was June 20th. And it didn't skip a day, and it didn't lose any days. It was exactly one per day up until today. So today has to be the 263rd. Has to be. If June 19th was 1, then if June 19th, 2025 was 1, then June 19th, 2025 was number 1, then March 9th of 2026 has to be 263. With all the way with all the way each month is made, some 31 days, some 30 days, February was 28 days. However that comes out, it's exactly, today is the 263rd day. But on this day, the Taiku, the 263rd Taiku, comes from Chulin 45. And the number 45 came up today. I was watching a video and someone was talking about the 45 colors of light in the Zohar Bereshit B, chapter 54. Bereshit Bet of the Zohar in chapter 54, and this is the synopsis. It's called the 45 colors of light. As white sunlight refracts into the 7 colors of the spectrum, the light of the Creator also refracts into colors that produce the diversity of creation. The Zohar describes the refraction of the supernal light and the birth of the countless colors that we experience as joy, bliss, and happiness upon performing a positive spiritual action. Through these passages, we gain a profound connection to all the colors of light. Our reading literally ignites the extraordinary eruption of color in the upper worlds so that all the grades of light begin to radiate in our souls. And this is Bereshit B, Bereshit Beis, verse 269, the Zohar. I'll read it in Aramaic just for effectively. Ba'arba'in v'chamesh gavnei zine nehorin yitpaleg alma shiva mitpalgin l'shiva tehomin kol chad batash bitehoma dile ve'avanin mitgalgelin bego tehoma v'yal hahu nehora be'inun avanin unikavlon umaya nafku bahu yishak'in kol chad v'chad al tehoma yichavya litrin sitrin. And again, this is a passage, this is verse 269 in the Zohar and Bereshit B, in chapter 54. The world, which is the Nukva of Zeir Anpin, is differentiated by 45 colors and types of lights. 7 Sefirot divide into 7 chasms, each plumbing its own abyss, namely Malchut, and stones turn within the abyss, meaning that they overturn so as to shine downward. And the light penetrates and pierces the stones, creating holes through which water flows and is poured into and covers both sides of its abyss. And just for one more for good measure, Bereshit B, this is verse 270. Nafku maya be'inun nukvin ba'ayal nehora ובתש לארבע סתרי תהומה, מתגלגלה נהורה בחברתה, וערערו בחד ובגין מעיין. And as the water exits through the holes in the stones, supernal light of the endless world shines through them and strikes the 4 sides of the abyss. Each light of the 4 sides includes all others at the time of striking. They join as one, and the water from Zeir Anpin splits within it. Okay, so this is interesting because that's one world. That's the Zohar world, where it's kind of a mystical place to be in, and then you come into the world of the Bavli, and it's radically different. You're dealing much more with nigla and practical matters that deal with the minutiae, the very detailed questions of halacha, Jewish law, and so it's good to use a number to see that tension or that the contrast at 45 lights that the Zohar talks about, and that same number 45 is describing the 263rd Taiku, which we'll see in a moment here. It's in Chulin 45a with the words Tana Rabbi Chia Bar Yosef, Kamed Rabbi Yochanan. Tana Rabbi Chia Bar Yosef, Kamed Rabbi Yochanan, Kol etzav kulo kosher l'shchita, mitabas ha'gedoila ad kanfei rio. Atachtoino Amar Rava, tachtoina shehi elyoina, shani omer kol shetes tzavara veroa ubad shelo te'anes. Rabbi Chia Bar Yosef taught before Yochanan, the entire neck is fit for slaughter from the large uppermost ring of the windpipe downward until the lower edges of the lung. Rava says that the phrase lower edges of the lung is referring to an animal hung by the feet. That is, it actually denotes the upper edges nearest the head. As I say that the area fit for slaughter is all the length of the neck that an animal extends in order to graze, provided that it is not forced to extend its neck further than it wishes. Consequently, the very bottom of the neck is not a location fit for slaughter. Boy Rav Chanina v'yitem Rav Chananya ansa asmamahu Taiku. Okay? Rav Chanina, and some say it was Rav Hanania, raises a dilemma. If the animal forced itself and extended its own neck, what's the halakha with regard to the additional area? The Gemara responds, we don't know. We don't know. We need to wait for the Messiah to come. And then Elijah the prophet is said to answer the question. Now I have a little bit more here, so I'll read what I have here. And now the Taiku was, if the animal extended its own neck with them, the Gemara relates a certain story, I guess, where in a case where an animal extended its neck. Let's see, just a few lines. So, Yosef Rabbi Yochanan Rabbi Shimon ben Lakish Nafak Milsa Bibinahu Anas B'Simon B'Shachat Basula Niga V'Kana Lamate Min HaChazeh Nidon Keya. Okay, it's an unresolved question, but I guess you can always be machmir. I guess that's what they did here. Let's see. The Gemara relates Rabbi Yochanan and Rabbi Shimon ben Lakish sat together, and a matter emerged from between them. If the slaughterer forced the animal to extend the simanim by stretching the neck and slaughter the animal at the lower end of the neck, the slaughter is not valid. And if the windpipe was perforated below the breast, it is considered like a perforated lung, which renders the animal a treifa no matter the size of the perforation. A perforation in the upper windpipe must be the size of an isar to render the animal a treifa. Okay, so I guess it didn't really connect to this. The question was if the animal extended its own neck. I don't know why that would make a difference, but apparently it is the 263rd Taiku, and again, Chulin 45a.